Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to podcast number 4. I cannot believe it. I'm number 4 already, and number 5 is going to be a big one also. This one here is titled Building a Sustainable Future in Arts and Crafts. Wow. The opening hook, I kind of put all this together. Can you imagine yourself in a garbage bin looking for stuff to create? Or even behind a dusty old frame, trying to find something to create. Well, that's what I kind of want to, start off with the show with. I don't go looking in the garbage and stuff like that. If I see something, by my garbage can, I won't dive in. I'll just kind of pick it up, look around. Hey, I'll take this back up and kind of build it. I've done that a couple times and really built some really nice creations. I did a grandfather's clock. It was just all green and black and ugly looking, and it turned out to be a really nice tabletop grandfather's clock, and it won first place at the county fair this year, Maricopa County Fair this year. So I kind of feel comfortable when I do grab stuff. I want to take something and build something nice. So that's some of the things I want to kind of discuss today. Why this all matters is it's just something that's close to my heart over the last 5 years, and I want to take something that's old and something that's beat up and give it a chance for a new life, and I feel I've done a great job in doing that, especially with the shadow boxes. I feel that I've done really nice with shadow boxes, and I'll just show you one that I turned into a shadow box, and it's a Halloween thing. And this thing also placed at the county fair, Maricopa County Fair. But this is a shadow box, and I put the scary clown in it. The SVG file is from Sandy over at Simply Crafty SVGs. Put it in there, and she made the comic. She says, "Wow, that's taken a design and completely different than her file, and putting it in something like this." But give credits to her for coming up with a crazy looking, scary looking clown and put it in a shadow box. You can kind of see it's an old picture frame. I saved this and it sits on the desk, really nice, and voila. So now the 3 picture frames that I've gotten from family members are now have a new life instead of throwing out in the garbage. So, this here will last years and years to go. You put it away nice and neat every year, it's going to last. They can take it out again and put it away, put it out for Halloween. But I wish I would have put some lights in there, though, but I didn't. But that's what I'm trying to, my point of this podcast is, and this show is basically is building a sustainable future in arts and crafts and trying to save not the earth, but trying to save at least some of the things that we can take and rebuild and put back out and give it a second chance in life. Some of the vases that I've gotten, what I do in my vases now is I use the acrylic paint and baking soda method. And I watched a YouTube channel, let me see, this was a couple of years back, on what they do. But this was an old glass vase, as you can see. Now it's it has a new life, and I'm going to build create a nice floral arrangement in this nice little vase here. But it's not old. It's going to have a brand new life. It's well built. It's painted on the bottom all black. This is another one that I've done recently. Nice purple. This was an old glass vase that I've gotten from my family members, and voila, it's now has a new life. So with that being said, and what they look like after something's done, and this is an old mason jar that I've done, I can turn into creations like this. This was for the farmers market at Maricopa County Fair this year, and turned it into a nice mason jar floral display with grapes on it and some lilies on it and stuff, and it turns out nice. I mean, this is a nice little display and floral arrangement to it's got a second life, and this again will last quite a long time. So that's one of the topics I wanted to talk about and kind of go through is watch what you're building. It's not everything that you buy from the store. Take it out of package and build it and create it. That's nice to do. You don't have to do any of what I do, added steps and this and that. But you're looking at things that you can create and really feel good about creating it. And I'd say probably 50% of my builds are something that I turned into, built by just scrap stuff, or I built from ground up and used an SVG file to put something in, like a floral arrangement or something like that. And I just feel that that's something that we can all do to help the environment as we start a business, grow a business, or even at home with the kids at home. When mom is out looking around for stuff to do for the kids on Saturday morning to entertain them instead of on their phones or on the PlayStation or whatever, they can sit down and enjoy a arts and crafts item, and she can teach the kids about the environment and help them understand what passion is and how they go about life. But again, it's just not something that you just buy from the store and just build it. The other things I kind of want to talk about, let me get the glasses on, is educating and empowering the next generation, which basically is what I just mentioned. And that's something that I'm doing in some of the classes that I'm doing now, recording the classes, is I'm taking platforms of wood that I get from Goodwill. And they're so inexpensive, from the hobby stores, to where I can take that piece of wood now that's a lot less expensive and turn it into a beautiful display of oh gosh, what am I trying to say? My Christmas displays, my platforms and stuff. I get a file from Crickett's Design Space and a house and kind of dress that up and make it completely different. Then I set it on this platform with all the lights and snow, and it turns out to be a really nice Christmas display. So that's some of the things that you can help your kids and help the environment, the best way you can. But let me see, educating others, which I just basically said, in business with a purpose. As a small business owner, I built my business model around, core values. And those core values, profitability, inspiring, and being authentic about it. And when I say those three is, yes, we all want to be profitable. And mom, when she's out buying stuff for these kids on Saturday morning to build or create, she wants to be, she doesn't want to spend a lot of money. So that's kind of saving her some money by looking at things and helping the kids understand that, hey, you can do anything with arts and crafts, and you can with a piece of wood or scrap wood or anything like that. So that's some of the things that I feel is important to, being in business, being profitable, and have mom being inexpensive, buying inexpensive stuff. Inspiring, the inspiring word is so huge. And for an example, some of the comments that I received from all my followers and new followers is, it's amazing when they look at this piece and they say, wow, this is gorgeous. How did you do it? How did you come up with the colors? Well, again, that's some of the tools that I've learned from my mentors, like Abby, Sandy, Leah Griffith, Leo at Dreaming Tree. Some of those things that you just learn, and you want to pass that around to the next generation. And that's my goal, is the inspiration that I get from my followers is they make me feel good to where I can keep building and creating stuff that's just out of the norm, and it makes you feel good and when people say wow, and that just gives me the motivation to keep going and keep digging as fast as I can. And that's some of the things that I just praise on. Matter of fact, I sent out a free class just the other day. It's the Helm, and that's the shipping wheel. And what inspired me on that is by Nancy Craig giving me 4 buttons, to build a shipping, or no, not to build, but she inspired me to come up with something totally different. I used her buttons on a shipping wheel, painted it all nice, made it look pretty and everything. And that's one of my classes that you'll see is you'll see stuff that I get from people or I find. I'll create something out of it, and that's something that is exciting to me, to where I can pass that knowledge along to other people, that you can turn those 4 buttons that I got, and I only put 3 on there, but you put those 3 buttons on a shipping wheel, you paint it, you put some bling bling on it, you put some sharks on it, you put, just whatever, and you make it a really nice piece to hang in the bathroom or something like that. That's the inspiring part about, that one word, authentic. Be true to what you're building. You just don't want to throw something together and say, here it is, I hope people like it. Well, it's not being true to yourself, and it's not being what my, podcast name is, made by hand and led by heart. Make it come from your heart when you're building stuff or creating stuff. And that's my biggest thing is I want to dig down deep inside of what I have and what the good Lord gave me, 5 years ago when I started this. Is I still don't know how and where I got this, but I know for a fact there's the guy upstairs that gave me this talent and the skills to do this, and he wants me to pass this along, and that's the reason why I do these classes now. And some of these classes that I'm doing, I'm telling you people, it's just that it's being authentic too, and the 60 plus classes I hope to have done by the September nights at the Arizona State Fair is, I'm going to be proud to keep that price at $9.99 a month, unlimited classes. And the reason why it's such a cheap price is because I want people to enjoy what they're going to learn, what I've learned from my mentors. I want to pass what I've learned from those great people that I follow and believe in, and be authentic about it. And and then in return, what I'm going to do is give it back to people that are interested in arts and crafts or a hobby or something. Again, I got to mention, I mentioned this in the last podcast about the Maricopa County Fair. To have 6 people in my booth building arts and crafts stuff was a sight that any designer wants to see, or creator or artist wants to see. They want to see that hands-on people, the kids going, using the glue. And my glue bill went up that month, no. But and the enjoyment that they get out of that there hit my heart so good. And there's times that I just like, this is just unbelievable. And it's something that I feel that is it's a win-win for everybody that sat down with me in my booth in building those classes. So that's being authentic. That's giving back to the community. That's just taking everything that you have and what you've learned from your mentors and turn around and doing it. So business with a purpose. As a small business owner, I built my business model around the core values and not the trends. I look at trends for a couple of reasons, and you can probably see it on every one of my shirts is the glow sticker, the glow the glowness. I've stuck with that trend, and this was years ago when that color was so popular. I mean, I think Halloween 2 years ago, I seen over at one of the hobby stores that everything was in day glow, and it was bright, and you could see it. And I stuck with this because it makes you stand out, and people can see it. It's like, wow, look at that shirt, And I try to make my shirts as plain as possible, but and to the point, and have a nice shirt that people can read and see it. And my name's always on everything. It's always on the back to where you're representing your business, and people look at you and say, "Wow, this guy's pretty smart." So with that being said, that's where my business manner comes in. And I'm always stepping ahead. I kind of read my script, enough, but I'm jumping ahead a lot, and I want to kind of touch base again. Most importantly, teaching others how to build businesses that reflect who they really are. Wow, that's a loaded sentence. That's how I am, and I build with my heart all the time. There's nothing that I have put together in 2 minutes or 5 minutes or 15 minutes. These builds, matter of fact, this one build I've been doing, it's sitting right over here. I've been working on, and it's not that I've been working on it, it's just been sitting there because I'm like looking at it and saying, something else, I'm missing something. But I finally came up with that idea, and I'll finish it in the class today as I record it. And it's sat there, but I'm working on it in my brain to where it's going to be me on why I built it and how I built it and the reasons why it sat there. But it's 80% done, and for some reason I stopped, put it aside, and then started another project. And actually, I recorded the classes, so I kind of like make sure and this is one of the things as a one-person show, you got to keep track of your notes. And I found myself looking at YouTube. It's like, gosh darn, did I put that? Did I upload that? So you got to be careful when you're doing the business too, is taking good notes and you're looking good. And that one will be done today because I want to push it aside, get it up on the shelf, and get it ready for the September 9th Arizona State Fairgrounds. But that's the fun that I have as being a small business owner. And just when you sit here all day and you look at things, you can look at numbers all day long. How do these people get so many followers? I mean, 10,000, 20,000. I'm scratching, probably 3,000, 4,000 followers. I'm scratching, and I'm begging in a way to where I'm not going to beg. I'm going to say, gosh, follow me, and you'll see something in years to come that it's going to be worthwhile in following me, because I'm going to be authentic about it, just like I said earlier. And that's the. I don't pay anyone. In other words, I don't pay people to try to. I don't have the money for it, but I don't pay people to get me the followers. I mean, I always get those posts on Instagram, and when I post something and it's something nice, these people come on and they say, "Hey, we can get you up to 1,000 followers. It costs you X amount of dollars. Get you up to 5,000, X amount of dollars." I'm not into that. I don't think that's a follower that I want. I want a follower to enjoy what I do. A good example is, I'm not going to knock on Abby's members or Leo's or Sandy's and hey, look at my channel, No, that's their people, and that's what they want to see. And that's being, again, authentic about what me, don't want. I don't want those type of people. Now, if they come over and they say, well, Tim's got to, this, well, fine. I feel good about that. They came over, they did the search and all that good stuff. Great. But you know what? They're not going to leave Abby. They're not going to leave Leo. They're not going to leave any of those current people just for me. they want to broaden their knowledge and in bettering themselves as a crafter. You know, there is so many ladies. I mean, 74% of my following is ladies, and they follow me for my reasoning and my builds and how I do flowers and cactus designs and stuff. And my other, you know, not my unique niche, but my other things that I put in the meantime. You know, when I get bored, I gotta do something. When I'm sitting here watching TV or a movie, I'm building something. You know, it might not be a floral arrangement, but you know, it might be something else. But you know, that's my following. You know, and I know a lot of those ladies are followers of Abby's, Leo's, Sandy's. You know, Jennifer Maker. They all, I mean, they see my when I use a file, let's say from jennifermaker.com, and I create something and I put it on her site. All the same ladies, they just love what I've done, and they're the followers of mine too, and they say the same thing. So no one's going to leave each other, and I don't grab anyone from there to bring them on over to me. I want real people that are interested in what I do, and how I teach, how I talk, how I write, how I speak, and how I look, and all that other good stuff. So that's the difference between you know, the other designers. You know, they build on how they build it, and when they take their file, they build it on how they see it. And there's times that I take their file and turn it into something that, holy mackerel, a good example is, you know, Sandy's clown. You know, it was supposed to be a stand-up clown that sits on a desk. Well, I put it in a box and made all the scary things around it and put, you know, Halloween stuff in there, and she appreciates that. The only reason why she appreciates it so much, and the other designers, you know, feel the same way, is they sell more product. I mean, they look at it and say, "Wow, that clown's neat. I want to do." You know, I've seen that people. They're gonna purchase that file, and that's my goal, is to help designers that are creating these awesome files that, you know, that we can work with as a, you know, creator, designer, artist, and we can build something and create something that's out of the norm than what they have. They're going to sell more product. Another good example, and I want to say, is Sandy's SVG file on the vintage flatbed truck. You know, you're a friend of mine that's it's also on Sandy's site, another artist. He builds some wicked trucks of Sandy. So, you know, it's like, gosh darn it, you know, he's whipping my butt, because I like taking Sandy's file and just creating something really out of the ordinary. But that truck, I mean, that truck file, I just love it to death. But we don't make it look like hers. We make it look like what's in our heart, and what we can do with a truck. I mean, I made some really neat trucks. I made out of that same truck, I made a 4-door truck. I took her file and extended it to a 4-door, you know, and that's some of the things, you know, she looks at, wow, you know, that's different. But, you know, that's some of the fun that we get from, you know, my people that I purchase my SVG files from, is they give you that extra mile, and take their files and create something big. So, and I just enjoy doing it. There's Ocean Magic is the only item. Well, I shouldn't say that. Ocean Magic series, when I did that two times over the last 5 years, and it's a job and a half, is I've used Cricut's Design Space, some of their files, but I created scenes that I created. You know, it wasn't from, you know, the other designers and stuff like that. I created those scenes and stuff like that, and I felt good at what I did, especially when one of them won first place at the Arizona State Fair in 2023. Won first place, and that hit me hard, and it's like, gosh darn, that was my design from my heart and built by hand, and it won. But I was using some of the dolphins and some of the ships and stuff like that from Crickett's Design Space. And it was like, wow, I felt good about that because it was worthwhile. It was a beautiful, beautiful scene. So, gosh, the stuff that's sitting in the closet, and again, talking about being authentic and stuff like that, take a look around the house. You can build something, you can create something, and you can actually have the kids sit down and enjoy building something that, Mom, you were going to throw that away, or Dad, Dad has this really neat wooden box out there. Can I do something with it? You can. You can actually sit down and just think of what you can build in that box, or what you can build around that box or inside the box. And that's something that that just it gets the kid's mind going, and it gets everyone's mind going. And again, I have to go back to what I'm recording on these classes because they're start to finish. And when I say start to finish, is putting the foam in the vase, and I already have some classes with the acrylic paint and the baking soda. That's one class. So you can watch one class and then go to the next step. You can see me putting flowers in that vase or that shadow box, and that gives the inspiration for the kids to say, wow, okay, this is how he does it. So I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to put a race car in there and make it a race car crash or something. That's something to where you're going to make your kids think and think out of the box and dig down deep inside to create something. But for me right now, is what I'm doing. The podcast show is critical for me because it's going to help my classes. And it's not that I'm selling all my classes. I'm like, hey, buy my classes. It's just not, I want to talk literally of what those classes are meant for and who they're meant for and why. And and then let them decide on how they want to do stuff. I mean, when you take a look at unlimited classes on my program at $9.99 a month, they're going to have 60, 70, 80 classes. Hopefully I'll have 200 classes at one time, sometime next year. And these are all going to be classes that every class is going to be different for $9.99 a month. And you can cancel anytime, you can do whatever, but all I'm saying is you're going to have your kids can watch it any time too. That's the nice thing about it. You can watch these classes anytime. So Johnny and Linda can get on, hey, I'm going to watch, Made by Hand, Led by Heart. I want to watch some other classes. They can watch 3, 4, 5 of them. But some of these classes, I'm going to tell you, there's one class, it took me 14 lessons. So 14 lessons in creating something. It was a big floral bouquet. Not that the kids are going to do this, but it's something that they're intense. They're down and dirty. They're going to be from start to finish. There's some in there that I had to start ahead because of time constraints. I'm pushing some time right now just to get ready for September night's Arizona State Fair and stuff. So I'm going to have some in the first 60 classes that are going to be started already, but you're going to see on the start to finish on what I did, how I did it. So it's going to be step by step. It's just going to save me just a hair of a time to get as many classes up and going for September nights. And that's critical for me as a business owner, is I got to make that decision and have good classes, ready for people to purchase. Because we're going to be doing the same thing at the September nights at the Arizona State Fair. I should say September nights first, which is the 19th through the 26th of September. For 5 hours, I'm going to be teaching. I'm going to have 6 spots again, and be teaching the fairgoers 6 different projects or 7 or 8 different projects, which they're sitting over there ready to go, and they're going to all be cut out and this and that. So I'm pushing some time. I got to do classes. I got to do those cutouts. I got to do this. So it seems like I'm going to be working 24/7 here pretty soon. But all in all, that's the way how I want to build my business, and I want to make sure it's affordable for everybody, and that's why the podcast show is here, and we can talk about it. Now, after episode 5, which I'll explain more in episode 5, there's going to be some new things, and it's going to be exciting. I wish I could say it now, but I can't. It's going to be a lot of fun. But, final thoughts, I just want to challenge all the moms or the dads, and dad's involved too, because I'm a grandpa, and I'm a dad? No, I'm a grandpa that wants to see my grandkids, get involved and in arts and crafts. I know one of my granddaughters, she does a little arts and crafts stuff, and she does a lot of beads and stuff. I'm pretty sure she's still doing that. I don't know, she might be growing up and not doing that anymore, right, Chad Ross? No, my son. But anyways, if I can just pass that along to moms and dads out there, is I challenge you to grab something from home, buying few things from the store, from any hobby store, very few, to create something and post it on my site. I did open a Facebook page for the podcast show. Okay, so I just opened it, I think, the other night, and I'm thinking to myself, dang, what is my podcast show Facebook page? I believe it's Artisan Studios LLC. I'm pretty sure it is, but I'll get that posted, and I'll have that on the next episode, and episode 5, which is next week. I'm running a day behind again because of certain things going on. I'm going through some physical therapy that you won't believe. I mean, my body is I'm trying to get my body back from me being in the situation I'm in. I've been going through some health issues, but we're still healthy, and got some blood work done this week, and I've been seeing some of the results. Some of the results look good. So my main concern is making sure that my health stays healthy. I got to watch on how many hours I put in, and then my goal is to have at least 60 classes before the September 9th. If not, I'm sure everyone will understand that I'm doing the best I can, and working my tail off when I can. What is it? 7 o'clock this morning. I was up at 4 this morning, taking my Chiquita out to. Matter of fact, where is she? Chiquita, come here, babies. Come here, babies. There she comes. She's coming right now. I can hear her. Come here, babies. Come up to Daddy. Say hi to everybody. Come on. I gotta get her in here, but she's the one that keeps me going. She gets me up. Dad, I gotta go outside. And look at her. She's just all ticklish. She keeps me going, and keeps me motivated and stuff as I live here alone. And this is my whole living room, and got my disco lights on. The only reason why I turned those on this morning is I'm getting down to the nitty gritty of episode 5, which is going to be a bang up job, and you're going to see after episode 5 what's going to happen. And got some exciting stuff going on for the rest of the year, and for the podcast and stuff. I'm still waiting on approval through Mary Ellen and Karen over at the State Fair, and the September nights is I want to do the podcast show live, at both of the venues and stuff. So I hope I can get that approved. Other than that, again, that challenge, just grab something out of home, out of your house, out of your closet, out of the garage. Build something creative, and sit down with your kids. Or even if it's just yourself, take that challenge. It makes you really sit back and think about stuff in life, and again, getting back to why I want to build this business and keep going with this business is because, you know, I just feel comfortable with what I do and enjoy what I do, and I want to pass it along. And I know I got to thank the Lord upstairs. He gave me this talent. I hated arts and crafts. I mean, when I was a kid, oh gosh, we had to go to the art class now, you know, and it's something that it just wasn't around. So, other than that, from the studios of T-Max Design 24, I do appreciate it. This podcast number 4. Hopefully you got a little something out of this. I know it's kind of like jumping all over, but that's something that, you know, I don't have a teleprompter or anything like that I can read off of. But, you know, I take notes. I do type my, my script up every day or every time. And that's one of the things that I try to do as a professional. And, you know, it's all typed, highlighted, and you know, I try to use some cue cards for me to stay on track. But, you know, it's something that I was a believer in when I worked at PepsiCo, is have a nice proposal put together, and that's one thing that type it up, put it together, and it helps. It helps to, you know, for what I talked about in years past. You know, I can go back to some of these episodes and kind of pick and choose what I talked about. You get a niche. So, anyways, Chiquita says bye. Give me a kiss. You want to give me kisses? No, you want to give me kisses, lazy? So that's it for podcast number 4, and we'll see you next week. I'm going to try to stay on time and stay on focus to get this out on next Friday. My apologies again. I know you got to stay consistent, and I know all this stuff, but you know, I get about 10 things going on at once, and which I totally love. Keeps me busy. Keeps me inside the cool weather, or out of the hot weather and inside the cool house. So, other than that, I do appreciate it. Have a good day, and we'll see you next week. I might pop in during the week just to say howdy. So, have a good one. I'll talk to you later. Bye.